Welcome back to another episode of Redesigned, the podcast where we explore the past, present, and future of technology and how it's shaped our way of life along the way. If you remember the yellow pages, this podcast is for you. If you remember listening to tapes on your Walkman, this podcast is for you. If you remember playing the Super Nintendo or Sega Mega Drive, this podcast is for you. I could go on. I'm really showing my age, but the thing is, if you missed the good old days of the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, this podcast is going to take you on a journey through how things used to be while connecting the dots on how modern technology has shaped or reshaped and transformed the way we work, live and connect. So each episode will dive into topics like artificial intelligence, smartphones, money, entertainment, sometimes even relationship dynamics, the future of work, robotics, that kind of stuff. And we're going to be exploring how these things have redefined the human experience. So this isn't just about gadgets or social media, it's about the culture technology creates. So whether you're on the underground, on the treadmill, at the gym, or on the way to work, I welcome you. Let's go. Do you remember hi-fi systems, hi-fi separates, mini systems? The days where you would buy CDs, tapes, records. I actually got my first hi-fi system, well, my own personal one, when I was 16. It was my 16th birthday, and I got the classic 3 CD changer, AWA or IWA, I don't even know how you pronounce it. Playing CDs after school, that was it. Making mixtapes, all of that good stuff. I was looking on eBay a few days ago for CD players because I want to start building my CD collection again, and it's looking kind of expensive. It's looking rather expensive. I still remember maybe about 10-15 years ago you could go to cash converters and get one for like 30-40 pounds. Now they're all like 150-200 pounds. People, I'm telling you, like, people are onto something. The last episode, I talked about Gen Z, not just Gen Z, but I talked about people like starting to build their physical media collection. They're kind of like moving away from streaming sites like Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music. And it looks like people want to actually own their own music again. They want to go back to CDs and physical media, tactile stuff that you can, when you open the CD and then you look inside and you look at the artwork and you read the credits and you look at the story and the photography, that shit was dope. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of miss that stuff, and it's just not quite the same with streaming services. I know with Spotify they show you they give you this video while the song's rolling, they show you this animated, this motion graphic. But it's kind of soulless, I still remember with even like Michael Jackson Thriller, as young as I was when I first had that album. Well, it wasn't mine, it was my dad's album, but just having access to it, and you take out the record and you look at the sleeve. In fact, let me get a picture of the sleeve in the inside, one of the inserts. Look at the artwork, look at the cartoon illustration. You've got the lyrics, you've got everything, and it's just like an experience. I kind of miss that. So this year in 2025 and next year as well, I'm going to be building up my collection of CDs and vinyls. I'm not going to buy too much because it's not really going to be, practical to like start, jamming up the house with all these different records and bits and pieces. But so yeah, this year I'm going to be definitely adding to my vinyl collection and restart my CD collection as well. But I'm only going to buy some of my childhood classics. I'm not going to buy too many because space, and I don't really have the time to listen to that much music like that. But just, sometimes, when you've got like a spare evening, you've got some spare time and you just want to chill and relax, fling on a record or two, have a glass of wine or something like that. Yeah, sounds a little bit bougie, but yeah. The experience of actually paying your attention to, taking the record, placing it on the slip mat, taking the needle, putting it on the vinyl. That is an activity in of itself. But I find when you're listening to music on streaming, you don't really appreciate it. It's either, most of the time it's on your phone, or it's on your laptop or your iPad or your TV, and then you're multitasking, you're just doing other things. You're not really immersed in the music. So yeah, that's one of the things I really want to do, along with reading more books this year. But hi-fi systems, yeah, I think we need to bring that back. I mean, these days you can only really get them from specialist stores, things like Richer Sounds and places like that. Mainstream retailers like Curry's and Argos and stuff like that, they don't really sell hi-fi systems like that anymore. You might get the odd micro system or mini system or something like that, but not like how it was back in the day. Tottenham Court Road, if you remember Tottenham Court Road, shout out to the people who remember Tottenham Court Road, what Tottenham Court Road was like in the 80s, the 70s. Well, I wasn't around in the 70s, but the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, before it was completely taken over by computer shops and stuff like that. Yeah, Tottenham Court Road was hi-fi heaven, man. You could get everything. But yeah, I think we need to bring hi-fi back. Like a full system, CD player, amp, equalizer, vinyl, even mini disc. Do you know, I got to do a separate episode on mini disc one day, because that was one format I really had faith in. That shit looked proper futuristic as well. That was ahead of its time. Really, it was MP3 that killed it. When they brought out the iPod, that was it for mini disc. There was no point. But yeah, hi-fi. Yeah, I really missed that shit. If you're listening on YouTube, please do me a favor, and if you like the content, hit subscribe, hit the like button right now, and also hit the bell, so every time I upload a new episode, you get notified and you can jump on that straight away. Because sometimes, you know how the algorithm works, you might miss stuff. So if you like the content and you want to support your boy, hit the like button, hit subscribe. Thank you in advance. So where was I? What was I talking about? Yeah, moving on to the next subject. Do you remember having a pen pal? If you don't know what a pen pal is, in fact, let's look up the definition of a pen pal. I don't want to get this wrong, because it's been a while. So a pen pal is a person whom one becomes acquainted through a friendly, regular correspondence. A person with whom one regularly exchanges letters, often a person in another country who one has not met, also called a pen friend. So I haven't had a pen friend since I was a kid. So, but yeah, it was one of those things that before the internet, it was fascinating being able to talk to someone else on the other side of the planet. I remember my pen pal was in Australia. So that was literally, from where I am in the UK, that was literally on the other side of the planet. But now we can just do this on X, Threads, even here on YouTube. It's a global community. So we kind of take for granted what we have. That's one of the things I do love about technology. See, I have a very balanced view of technology. I'm not super for it, but I'm not super against it. But I think we need to definitely look at perhaps maybe where we've gone too far with technology, because we rely on it so much, but also embrace the technology that actually does make our lives easier, and the technology that actually brings marginalized groups together. For example, people with rare diseases. Back in the day, imagine what it would feel like to have this rare disease and you didn't know anyone who had that disease or anyone you could like relate to or ask questions. But with the internet, things like groups, Reddit groups, that kind of stuff, people are able to find their communities and actually, you know, relate to people that are going through similar struggles. That's the great thing about the internet. But on the other hand, we're going through a loneliness epidemic, which is partly caused by technology. We just don't interact with people the way we used to. But that's for a different discussion. But yeah, pen pals, man. Let me know in the comments if you ever had a pen pal and where that pen pal was based. Be interesting to know. I'm really aging myself. But yeah. So what's been going on this week? Got CES. CES is one of the largest technology trade shows in the world. It's out there in Las Vegas. It's happening right now. And they've been showcasing a lot of new technology, a lot of new products, a lot of keynote speeches from companies like LG, Nvidia. They're showing you what the latest is with AI and robotics and stuff like that. And yeah, we're definitely living in some interesting times. There's some things with technology where I don't understand why we would need such things. For example, LG has this microwave with a screen in it that lets you take selfies. Let's take a look at that.
Here at CES with LG Showcase, and we all have microwaves over our cooktops, and they just sit there. So why not use that as a secondary display? So LG's done a really cool thing where the whole display has you doing interactive things with your microwave. So it can give you cooking instructions. You can just put in your time. So it has a camera inside. So if you need to have help cooking your potato, you can do that. Hit the start button, and now you're looking inside the microwave. So let's say you're cooking popcorn or something else you need to keep an eye on. You can look on your phone and be able to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, not sure why I would want to take selfies on my microwave or for my microwave to actually see what I'm doing. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't think the government's watching me or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you see the benefit of having a microwave with a screen on it. I mean, do you know what would be a better idea if the microwave had like your family calendar on it or something like that? I don't know. Maybe it has got one. I don't know.
Redesigned.
I was watching this guy on Instagram called The Coffee Jesus. Yeah, he's quite an interesting dude. Like, his content is about technology. He's going more of the utopia route. He thinks that there is a possibility that we can have a utopia and use the technology, the advanced technology and AI for, practical stuff that will make our lives better, not just focusing on profit and productivity. Because you know how like with AI nowadays, it's basically showing you how you can be more productive, how companies can make more for less. This guy's approach is more about making a utopia where the technology benefits mankind, not just in a commercial perspective, if that makes sense. I saw him on Instagram, and yeah, I'm just going to put up one of his posts right here. And he says 2025 is the year where we get robots.
Hey, I just wanted to hop on here and wish you a happy new year. It is that time. It is 2025. This is the year we get robots. This is the year we get incredibly advanced artificial intelligence all over the world. We already have the echoes of AGI, the sparks happening right now. There's going to be an amazing transformation that happens to society this year. I know that that's scary, and I know that there's going to be a lot of, negatives that are going to come with that. It's inevitable. Every single time that we have ever had massive society-wide technological change like this, people panic. There's a lot of bad stuff that happens.
Are you ready for robots? I don't know if I'm ready for that. I mean, I'm not even thinking about that. Really, I'm thinking about this cost of living crisis. That's what I'm thinking about. I don't know about you. I don't think we need robots. I think we're lazy enough as it is. I mean, it'd be fun, I suppose, but really think of it this way. Imagine a life where you wouldn't have to do any cooking, cleaning, ironing. You wouldn't have to do any chores. Like, imagine what life would be like, or imagine what life would be like if you didn't have to work. what would we be doing with our time? Something to think about.
It's the ultimate soldier.
It doesn't get happy, it doesn't get sad, it doesn't laugh at your jokes.
It is quite simply the most sophisticated robot on Earth.
At Nova Robotics, the future is in good hands.
You're doing real good. Just keep working on those last 2 bars.
Thanks to Dr. Newton Crosby.
Originally, I designed it as a marital aid.
But artificial intelligence has gotten too smart.
Don't forget, if you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any of the podcast platforms, do me a favor and hit follow or subscribe. Going to try and build this up as much as possible, and I'm going to do some cool stuff right here. We're just getting warmed up and we're just trying to build the community and just see how many other like-minded people there are out there who care about this kind of stuff. It'd be really good to like connect with people around the world who are interested in geeking out on new technology, finding out how we can use AI to enhance our productivity, and also looking at the downsides and the stuff to avoid as well. So last week, I did speak about social media taking a turning point in social media in 2025. Yeah, it looks like it's happening. So Mark Zuckerberg posted an announcement just the other day. You might have seen it, you might not have seen it. If you haven't seen it, let's roll that right now.
Hey everyone, I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes. Even if they accidentally censor just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms.
Yeah, this might be the straw that breaks the camel's back for Facebook, Instagram. I don't know. I mean, I've looked at some of the comments from people that are worried that the freedom of speech thing is going to get out of hand and there are going to be certain groups that are going to be targeted. Maybe not. We can only see, but a lot of people are outraged. A lot of people are concerned, and a lot of people want to just leave social media altogether. That's the interesting thing about it. I've seen a lot of comments where people are like, okay, if we are not using Instagram or we're not using Threads, where are we going to go? And I'm seeing some people say, you know what? I'm not going anywhere. And if I do, I'm never coming back to social media. Like, social media is dead as it is. I'm not looking for another platform to join. And speaking of joining other platforms, the founder and CEO of an app called Fanbase had this to say.
Hello. Today you saw a video of Mark Zuckerberg walking back the policies that kept Instagram and Facebook trusted platforms for their users to turn to. Real trust, the kind that makes you feel seen and heard, is what social media is supposed to be about, right? But these days it feels like that trust is slipping away. When platforms start stepping back from accountability, it makes me think, where does that leave us? Freedom of speech thrives on informed discussions where individuals can exchange ideas rooted in truth. If platforms allow unchecked misinformation to spread, it pollutes public discourse. This makes it harder for the people to distinguish fact from fiction, undermining the very foundation of meaningful communication. It is apparent now more than ever that the oligarchs only seek to increase their wealth, suppress the truth, and consolidate their power, all at the expense of the communities they've built their fortunes on and claim to serve. But we have a choice. We can stand idly by and watch as trust erodes, or we can act boldly, decisively, and invest in platforms that value us, that respect us, and that empower us. And that choice starts right now. I'm asking every single one of you to download Fanbase today. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Become part of something bigger. At Fanbase, we're dedicated to building an environment that is not only free from misinformation, but is safe and welcoming as well.
So in response to that, Sinead Bovell on Threads, she's actually a tech influencer and thought leader and futurist. She wrote the following comment: regardless of where you stand on social media content moderation, the market has already signaled that we've reached peak social media. Platforms are fragmenting, growth rates are slowing, and new foundational technologies and hardware are entering the scene. A hostile environment will likely accelerate the decline of individual platforms. We are at the beginning of the end of social media's dominance. The real question is, what industry will take its place? So I responded to this with a comment. I said, scenario 1, people will commune on YouTube, podcasts will dominate. Scenario 2, people will start to appreciate more offline experiences, seeking community in real life. But radio will have a second coming and perhaps another media ecosystem that supports local community gathering will be birthed. And you got to remember, radio, back in the day, radio used to have tastemakers. So your DJs and your presenters were tastemakers. They would influence the taste of society in terms of music, culture, events. They would be the ones that would curate music to you. You'd be that was the original method of music discovery before MTV, before social media, obviously. But a DJ would be the main tastemaker. They would get all the interviews of all the artists. They'd have all the latest music. They would play it to you, and sometimes the songs that they were playing on the radio weren't even available for you to buy yet. So they had that. So that created a whole ecosystem and hierarchy. So you've got the tastemaker. They have the access to the artist, to the music, to whatever's fresh. They would tell you about it. It would build demand. There would be a gap between you finding out about it and actually and it being available for you to buy, versus this sort of instant economy that we have now, where something comes out immediately, it's on social media, everyone can access it like on their phones. Like it's crazy. But yeah, if that scenario were to happen, we might see something completely unexpected. So yeah, things are definitely changing. I don't see the end of social media. I just think it's going to change. I think people are just going to be more selective about what they consume, and I just think people are just going to do things differently. If anything, I believe that people are going to take more of an interest in long form content on YouTube, podcasts about specific topics. And then in terms of using social media for recreational use, I think there's going to be less of that, and people are going to connect with their audiences through things like email marketing, things like Reddit groups, Substack, that kind of stuff, Patreon. I think that's going to be the next wave before people are actually ready for the next wave, which is, in my opinion, is going to be AR and mixed reality. So if you don't know what that means, that's augmented reality and mixed reality. So we're talking about being able to look at your environment in the real world through glasses, these digital glasses that project an image onto your... This is going to sound real technical. I'm going to find the most basic way of explaining this, because I hate when people are waffling, so I don't want to waffle. So let me just use ChatGPT right now and get a proper explanation.
Redesigned.
Can you explain what augmented reality is and mixed reality in the most basic terms?
Sure. Augmented reality AR is when digital things like images, text, or animations are added on top of the real world you see. For example, if you use your phone to see a virtual Pokemon on your table, that's AR. It's like layering computer graphics over your real surroundings. Mixed reality MAR is a step further. It blends the real and virtual world so that digital things interact with the real world. For example, wearing special glasses, you could see a virtual ball bounce off your real table. The virtual and real objects seem to exist together in the same space. Does that help clear it up?
Yeah, that was good. Thank you. See, even when I talk to AI or robots, I'm polite. I think that will pay off in the future because, you know, when the robots decide to come get you, they're going to remember who was naughty and who was nice. Yeah, I think that will be the next wave. If you've seen Ray-Ban and Meta have a collaboration, the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, and I think that's the first step to sort of commercial adoption of that idea. It's still early days, and I think once the financial pressures ease, it'll be easier for people to adopt new stuff. But right now, it's just smartphones. People are battling with the smartphone addiction. I don't think they have any mental bandwidth to adopt any new products. This is not the time for new innovation like iPods or iPhones or, you know, any of that stuff. Right now, if anything, VR would have kicked off. If that was the case, VR would have kicked off. The metaverse would have kicked off. But it's one of those things where economically, it's just not viable. So we're a bit of a weird place right now. It's a turning point. People are fed up of the whole... I think people are just overwhelmed with the just living online and all that brings. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. It'd be good to find out what your views are on that. So next week, we're going to have a slightly different format, some new segments. Yep, we're going to have some new segments next week. So make sure you watch out for that. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, if you want to leave this podcast a review, you can do that on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave a comment on YouTube. Let me know what your thoughts are. And I'll see you in the next episode.
Redesigned.